clear left. You're on the left. Clear left. Now on your left. You're on the left. Within the track limits.
How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all keeping well, and welcome back to a new video here for round 6 of the RTA Motorsport MX5 World Series. Last video I had was round 4 around Mid-Ohio, so make sure you check that one out, link in the top right. But before we head into this one, round 5 around Silverstone, unfortunately I wasn't able to take part. I was away from home last week, so unfortunately missing out on a couple of points there to go towards our championship. And speaking of championship, taking a quick look at the standings after that round in Silverstone, and it is Ronan Doherty who leads the way, 90 points last time out, taking the 3 wins out of 3, that coming off the back of 2 wins in the Formula V championship and then winning the Leinster Trophy a couple of weeks ago as well, so congratulations to Ronan on that achievement. And then it is Dylan McClemens up into second place, overtaking Conor Melia in third. Conor also wrapping up the B Championship in the Irish Formula V Championship a couple of weeks ago in Mondello as well, so congratulations to all the RTA lads doing really well in their real life racing championships. But getting back to RTA and the B Championship for the MX5s, Dave Collier still leading the way. I don't think he raced in Silverstone, so didn't lose out any points to him. Emma Dempsey still in second, just gaining the 1 point because she ended up with 30 points of penalties after that last round, so an eventful one there for Emma. And then Phil Upson still in third place, myself moving down 1 spot into 8th, but still very close with all of us really, and I think the goal of a top 5 is still within reach. But heading back into this one then, round 6 around Virginia International Raceway, VIR, a track which I don't honestly really like, which I think is a bit of a controversial opinion because nearly anything I've heard other people say about this track is that it's a fun one to drive and good crack racing around here.
Alright Ken, you need to watch the track.
Maybe it's because I haven't driven around here much, or it's because I haven't been great in the cars I have driven around here in, but I just can't seem to find a way to drive fast around here and just don't really have much enjoyment around this track. But hopefully a few good results here this evening will change my opinion on that, because it does feel or seem like it has all the characteristics and makings of a fun track to drive on. But qualifying here now, and it is a very long track, so not too many opportunities to get a good lap in this 15-minute session. So we're going to head on board now at the start of my fastest lap in this qualifying session. Coming across the line to start the lap and heading down into the heavy braking zone of turn 1. I'm braking just between the 1 and the 2 board down into second gear and then first gear to get the rotation to keep it tight through turn 2, the shortest line through there, and then heading into turn 3. Flat out through this kink and then braking for 3 down into second gear, kind of as much speed as you can, and I don't really use as much exit as I should there, into 4 then. Down into first gear, probably should have stayed in second because it upset my exit through turn 5 and now into 5A flat out as we head on to, not a straight, but it is one of the many flat out sections throughout this track. Taking the shortest line as I can then on the run into turn 7, over the curbs, then into 8, 9 and flat out through 9 here as we head into my Achilles heel around this track, turn 10. I just couldn't really get it right consistently, didn't get too bad there, but still not great as we head uphill, braking into turn 11, holding the brakes throughout into turn 12 where it's important to get a good exit, use all the track on the exit, as now we're on to what is actually a straight and the longest straight on this track. So couple of seconds to gather my thoughts and think about the braking zone for turn 14. Unfortunately not close enough to Ronan Duffy ahead to get any slipstream, which turned out to be very powerful for here, but not thinking about that now. as we're braking into 14 and 14A. A very tricky braking zone because you want to brake as late as you can, but not too late. Heading through the final sector of the track then, and braking for the final time. Another corner which important to get a really good exit, but you still want to try and carry as much speed as you can in one, which I didn't feel like I was doing very consistently. But that is a lap around VIR, and we're going to come across the line to set a 1 minute 9.6. So I did go for another 2 laps after that, but unfortunately made mistakes and wasn't able to improve, and that time puts me down towards the back of the grid in P15. Ronan continuing on from where he left off in Silverstone, taking pole position ahead of championship rival Dylan McClemens, and then Brandon McCahan rounded out the top 3 for the B championship. From 13th down to 19th, all of us just taking up our place at the rear of the grid. So at least we're around who we're really fighting against, and we're third of the B series drivers, so hopefully we can try and challenge Ollie and Dave and move a couple of places up the grid in race 1. So as the lights come on for the first race then tonight, the lights go green from P15 and we get a pretty decent start. Not the best, not the worst, but we're going now heading on the pretty long run into turn 1, focusing on just keeping it nice and safe. Up ahead, a few puffs of smoke, and we managed to get down the inside. I think that was David Prunty, as Ollie Meredith is sent for a spin, so unfortunate for him as we head into turn 3 then. Up behind our B championship leader Dave Collier, and we were coming under a bit of pressure there from Dave Prunty behind. He was having a little bit of a look through turn 5 then. I went a bit wide trying to get a good exit, and Prunty shows his nose down the inside. Had to leave him a bit of room there, didn't want to squeeze him because it would have sent me into a spin, so no point trying to squeeze him then if it's not going to benefit myself. But yeah, in the slipstream now, heading up the hill through the S's and trying to focus on just getting a good run through this turn 10. Brake nice and early, but we still just wash wide, get a lot of understeer, and that means that David's going to get a good run on us. Up ahead, Dara Halley seems to have had a bit of an issue as well. He's into turn 11. In the mirror behind, you can see Ross Wheatley goes for a move that really wasn't on, and then as I'm sideways on the track, I think it was Sean McGoldrick who ended up collecting me. You can see there in the bottom right, you might have seen that he was reset to the pits. As you can hear there, a lot of damage to the car. But we're going to have a look at a replay here now on board with Ross. You can see through turn 10 into turn 11, it's not a corner where going down the inside is ever going to work, and the door was always going to close. I didn't even know he was there until the contact was made really, and we both ended up worse off because of that. And then with the damage, a lot of damage to the back end it seems, and the car just had no confidence in it, felt very unstable through any high speed turns. You can see here that these last 2 clips have been on the same lap, just haven't really come to terms with the damage the car has yet. And yeah, the rest of the race was pretty much spent either just pottering around by myself or recovering from spins. Luckily Sean, who ended up collecting me, was a good bit behind, and even with all my spins just staying out whereas he reset to the pits means that we're able to stay ahead of him. And that was it for race 1 then. Coming up to cross the line, we're going to finish down in P17, so not a great start to VIR trying to redeem itself for me.
Bring it back round. Checkered flag, checkered flag.
So P17 it was then in the end. Says 1 lap behind, but I didn't get lapped, so just some kind of issue with the results document there. But yeah, not much more to say about my race. Up at the front, Jordan Kelly taking the win ahead of Campto, and then Brandon McCahan rounding out the podium. Ronan Doherty from pole losing a couple of places, but very tight up at the front. The top 6 separated by just under 2 seconds. And then looking at the B Series drivers, Dave Collier managed to move up into the top 10 in 9th, Ollie in 11th and Emma in 13th. So Dave having a good result there, extending his lead at the top of the championship. And for us, down the back of the grid, but that does mean that for the second race we'll be able to take it nice and easy, nice and safe on the opening lap, and hopefully we can be the ones to take advantage of other people's mishaps. Into race 2 then, from P17, 4 lights are on and the 4 lights go off. Once again, a pretty okay start, better than the first race, and I think better than Ross, who is just behind me there on the left hand side, heading into turn 1. Once again going to take it nice and easy, just braking earlier than I probably would, just don't want to get too involved with anything. But as I say that, we're now side by side with Ronan Duffy heading into turn 3. He is the inside line, so I expect him to get the move done, but we seem to carry more speed around the outside, and we're still side by side heading into turn 4. And now I have the inside line, and wanted to go out wide here so you can take the better line into turn 6, but unfortunately had to leave room for Rowan. As you can see in the mirror there, he went for a spin, and that compromised exit means we're going to come under pressure from Sean McGoldrick, and you can see here on board with Dylan, who is behind the two of us, heading side by side into the S's. Not really something you want to do. And you can see here just a bit of contact, and then Dylan, I get up on the curve, have a bit of a wiggle, and Dylan just manages to get past. It was very close to a bit of contact there, and a big collision when you're going through turns like that and the car is fully loaded. A little bit of contact and it's not going to end well for at least one person. But heading onto the straight there,
hello there.
You can see a car off in the grass. That was Ross Wheatley, or no, it was Ronan Duffy actually, who we were side by side with. So Ross having a bit of an incident there, and up ahead also having an incident is Phil Upson. So we're right on the back of him now, and we're going to send a move down the inside of turn 4. Inside line, just like Ross did on the first lap, and I can see now how he didn't get that move done. You really can carry a lot more speed around the outside, heading into turn 5, and then into, I think there's 5A or 6, I'm not too sure, but we managed to just have a nose ahead of Phil and cement that move and get it done. Very respectful racing there by Phil, who kind of backed out because it was probably the safer thing to do. Starting lap 4 then, we made a couple of places. There was a few in the pits, can't remember who that was. And then ending lap 4, starting lap 5, Emma also off the track, and we get another position. And then in turn 1, another position. So we moved up into P11 or P12 now, because pretty much all because of other people having incidents. I can see here Dave Collier up ahead. He was 7 or 8 seconds up the road, and he seems to have had some kind of issue. The gap there coming down rather quickly, and it's going to continue to go down as we head along this straight. He clearly had some sort of issue or incident that meant he didn't have much momentum.
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
Heading on to the most important part of the track, to have some momentum. And pretty much for the next couple of laps, we're just slowly closing in on Dave, and as we head on to the final lap then, unfortunately we weren't able to close in on Dave, but there was an issue or an incident for Conor Melia, who was off the track after getting past him. Up ahead, Sean McGoldrick was involved in that. He's very slow. Unfortunately we're not able to get past him, but Dave Collier gets in P8 and reverse grid pole, and I finish in P10. So 10th place it was then, up 7 places from where I started, and it didn't seem like it was a very eventful race from my side, but seems like it was for a lot of other people, and luckily I was able to take advantage of that. Up at the front, Brandon McCotton taking the win. Dylan McClemens up 17 places into 2nd place, and if you remember from the start, he started behind me, so just shows why Dylan is always up towards the front of these championships and has taken a couple of championships over the last year or so. And then rounding out the podium is Jordan Kelly. Ollie Merritt had taken a very impressive P4 to be the first of the B Series drivers. But unfortunately for Ollie, you can see the little dot beside his name there. He did get a penalty in this race, which is unfortunate for him, but it is good for the rest of us in the B Series. It means that his great result there is diluted a bit because of those 15 points taken away. And then, as I mentioned, Dave Collier finished 8th in that one, so he will lead the grid away for the final race here in VIR. So, as the lights come on for the final time here for round 6 of the MX5 Championship, the lights go out and once again get a pretty good start. We're gaining ground on Sean McGoldrick to our right hand side. I'm going to be alongside him heading into turn 1 behind the Peter Griffin car of Brandon McCotton. Very unique and distinctive car here on the grid. But through turn 1 into turn 2, keeping it nice and safe, Sean managed to hold that place down our inside and was challenging Brandon. Now Brandon taking that move back as we head into turn 4. On the exit of turn 4 we get a really good run there, and I make the mistake of going to the outside line, almost run into the back of Ollie, but does mean that Conor Mealy is now on our outside. We have the inside line, we hit the curve there pretty aggressively, but luckily Conor was after backing out and we all managed to get through there safely. And now fast forward up through the S's and through turn 9. I take it really easy and don't have the best run, and that invites Conor to have a look down the inside of turn 10. Now we're side by side, a very opportunistic move there for Conor, and now we're side by side. Jumping on board with Ronan Doherty, you can see here on the exit I don't get a good run, and Ronan just hits into the back of me, sending me for a spin there, which, yeah, for a driver of Ronan's calibre, I wouldn't expect him to have made a mistake like that, but it is what it is, and probably should have reported that, but I had to leave pretty much straight after the end of this race, so if I had reported it wouldn't have been looked at anyway, because you have to be in the Discord after the race to have incidents reviewed, which, yeah, means that most incidents that I have, I'm usually not able to report them. But we moved along anyway on lap 2. Now we're after catching up to Emma. I think she might have had some issues of her own, and I think that she's racing in VR for the first time here in this round, so probably just struggling to get used to that. But she was a bit slow heading through the corners, heading onto this back straight, and managed to get the move done with the slipstream heading into turn 14 and 14A. Staying on here now, because through the final section of the track I don't get the best run, and again it's another area of the track where you need to get a good exit because the pit straight is very long here, so that has allowed Emma to get back alongside as we're side by side coming across the line heading down into turn 1. But luckily with the inside line and just braking a lot later, still getting the car stopped and to the apex nice and tight, managed to finally secure that move on Emma.
There's an incident in.
A couple of laps later then, get up another place. Ross Wheatley having an issue, facing the wrong way on the exit of turn 14A. And we're now just 5 seconds behind. It was Phil Upson as we were ending lap 4 there. Now ending lap 5, that gap is close to just under 4 seconds, and this is just a team for the next couple of laps. Next lap the gap is down to 3 seconds, so we're slowly closing in on Ronan Duffy and Phil Upson again after taking another half a second to a second off. And then once again coming, this is the second to last lap. We're well within range now, having a big slide through turn 2, but we're under 2 seconds, and now later on in that lap we're about a second behind, so have to try and get a good run through here and get nice and close on the exit onto the back straight, and we're just within under a second, so we're going to get a little bit of a slipstream from the cars ahead, and that's going to be crucial to see if we can try and make a move or two on the final lap of this race. Currently in P15, so if we got the two of these, it'd be up to 13th place. And considering where I found myself on the grass facing the wrong way at the end of lap 1, wouldn't be the worst result in the world. Unfortunately, coming on to the last lap, don't get the best run out onto the pit straight. It was a corner that I was struggling with to get consistency right, and just understeered a bit and wasn't able to get on the power as early as I would have liked. But Ronan and Phil fighting side by side into turn 1 means I'm able to stay nice and close, and the two lads are going to continue to fight as they jump on board here with Ronan. He gets a good exit out of turn 3 and is down the inside of turn 4, gets that move done on Phil. Phil runs really wide, and that gives me the opportunity to have a little look around the outside. I was more so setting it up to try and get a good exit through here, looking back from Phil now. We do get a pretty good run and with the slipstream, but heading up through the S's, it is not really somewhere where I was confident in trying to make a move, so we stay behind for now, try and focus on staying nice and close to get a move along the long back straight with the help of some slipstream. Through turn 10, don't get the best run, but I knew that into turn 11 and 12 here I was stronger than the two of these. It was where I was gaining a lot of my time, but unfortunately get a slowdown penalty. Phil took a lot of the curb there and I kind of just followed him, which wasn't what I really wanted to do, but I decide that I can give up this penalty once I'm ahead of Phil through the last section of the track. So with the slipstream we pull to the inside line for the final heavy braking zone of the track, and thankfully for me Phil decided to back out of that, and yeah, we got that move nicely done. Slowdown penalty wears itself off just because I'm so slow as it is. It doesn't really affect my pace. My pace is just slow enough for it to disappear by itself. And for the final time out of the final corner we get a nice good run. Not good enough to challenge Ronan with slipstream to the line, but enough to make sure that we stay ahead of Phil, and we're going to finish race 3 in 14th place. So 14th then, all things considered, not a terrible result. Lost a couple of places because of the first lap incident, but managed to claw them back. Up at the front, Brandon McCaughan taking the win ahead of Ronan Doherty, who ran into the back of me, so Ronan managed to recover a not great starting position because of race 2 into a good result in the final race. And then Dara Halley rounding out the podium. Dara, bit of a surprise this season with how much pace he's had, so good to see. And then Sean McClemens in 4th place, he got a penalty for something as well, so not a great race there for Sean. And then looking at the B Series drivers, Ollie in 11th wasn't able to convert the good starting position from his result in race 2. And then Ronan Duffy just ahead of me. Dave Collier, who started on pole, had some kind of incident and ended up finishing a lap down in last place, which is unfortunate for Dave but good for the rest of us in the B Series. And then looking at the standings after 6 rounds, the top 3 remain the same, with Ronan ahead of Dylan, ahead of Connor. Dermot Toomey moving up into 4th place, so Dermot having a very good season here as well. And then for myself, moving up into 22nd place, 90 points, and yeah, not really too worried about these main standings. More so worried about the B standings, which as you can see, still being led by Dave, who slightly extended his advantage over Emma. Phil in 3rd place, and then myself moving up 1 spot into 3rd. It's still very close between, I would say, 4th place down to myself in 7th, so I think there is a chance to get a top 4 in this, but again, the goal is P5, and hopefully we can get some more good results in the final 2 rounds at Brands Hatch and Bathurst, which I am sure is going to be a very uneventful round, so looking forward to the final 2 races of this season. But that is it for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more RTA videos. But until the next one, thanks for watching. See you then.